Hello again, fellow YouTubers and interwebicans. Alright, so I'm back. Today I was gonna make a video, talking about the whole Ferguson incident. So, if you guys are shy or squeamish about politics or anything political in nature, you should probably go, because this is not your video. But yeah, I haven't done a huge amount of research on the case itself. I've looked at the case file, I've looked at the autopsy report, and I've heard a few of the, witnesses or whatever you want to call it from the area. So that's all I've got to base the case on. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and talk about both sides, Darren Wilson and Mike Brown. On the one hand, Mike Brown, as far as I know, he was shot 6 times. According to the police report, he was 143 feet away from Darren Wilson's SUV when he was killed. The fatal blow being a bullet from the top of his head to the bottom of his jaw, implying that he was bent over in some way when the shot hit him. So, yeah, that does kind of indicate or implicate Darren Wilson of being guilty. And if that is the case, and that that Mike Brown was running away, and that Darren Wilson shot him due to racism or some other cause, Darren Wilson should definitely be indicted and should be arrested. But as far as I've heard about from people in the area, Darren Wilson had reached inside the police officer's SUV. He reached inside Darren Wilson's SUV and reached for his gun, and when he couldn't reach it, that's when he ran away. Apparently, a warning shot was fired, and he got shot in the hand, which is shown in the autopsy report. There is a superficial wound on the palm of his hand, grazing him, which would indicate a warning shot. And then, when he refused to back off and, submit, Darren Wilson was forced to fire on him and kill him. 4 shots ended up in his arm, I think it was 3 or 4 shots ended up in his arm. A couple hit him in the torso, and then obviously the one in his head. In that case, I don't believe that it was right for Darren Wilson to kill. Now I understand the necessity for it, but he should still at least be suspended, which, as far as I'm aware, he's been suspended during the entire investigation, but he should definitely have a suspension of at least 6 months, probably a year. But I do believe that he acted as was necessary. If Mike Brown had reached inside the SUV to reach for his weapon, and then after a warning shot was fired, refused to back off and proceeded to act with aggression or hostility, Darren Wilson acted as he saw was fit. In which case, he should be innocent. He shouldn't be indicted. He shouldn't be arrested. He should be suspended. But that's the end of the case. In regards to the following incidents, from the protesting to the looting and all of that, I don't feel any of that is right. Now, yes, the protesting is acceptable. That is in, every person's rights. But the fact that buildings and businesses are being damaged, they are being shut down, they're being looted, that is not necessary in any way. And as far as I've heard, it's other people from neighboring cities that have entered under the protest and, have been looting and destroying. I do believe that the police force, the St. Louis, police force, and the National Guard have every right to defend, the state, pretty much. even up to enforcing martial law. Because right now you have a high level of aggression and hostility, mainly coming from an African American population, and being directed towards, the white population, and that being the police force. So martial law should be implemented. If the riots do continue and get even further out of hand, I firmly believe that martial law should be implemented. Not only just in Ferguson, but in the neighboring counties, or in the neighboring cities as well. All of St. Louis County should be under martial law because of that. And the reason I say that is because, as I said, people are coming from other neighboring cities into Ferguson to participate in this, and it's getting out of hand. It's almost as if the people themselves were waiting for any possible reason to strike back and act out against the police or the government, and it's not right. So the protesting, I can understand the protesting, even picketing, boycotting, I can understand all of that. The full-scale riots are completely unnecessary. I fully support the use of rubber rounds, of tear gas, of flashbangs, and crowd control. And as I said, I fully support the martial law being implemented, because that's just something that needs to happen. People are getting out of hand, and it's out of control. LA, there was as far as I've heard, there was a black man that was shot there. You don't see people losing their shit over that. South Carolina, it was either South Carolina or North Carolina, they had an incident similar. They're not losing their shit. It's only in Ferguson, and Ferguson seems to be pulling the race card. Black or white, anybody that gets shot, if it was a white boy, everyone in Ferguson would be like, oh, well, yeah, he reached for Darren Wilson's gun. But since it's a black boy, we're going to continue playing the race card because it is literally the only thing anybody seems to use anymore. So I guess that's my view. I'm leaning more towards being in defense of Darren Wilson. I don't think that a police officer would just shoot, a black boy just to kill him out of racism. Now, yes, I know it happens, but this being the first incident, and I guarantee, Mike Brown wasn't the only one to be killed. He's not the first person to ever be shot and killed by a police officer. But because he's black, and because this is a changing time, we're gonna go ahead and flip shit. So, to you guys in Ferguson, cut your shit out. Protesters, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the retards coming from Barkley and all those other places. Cut your shit out. Get back to your own city. Stop being, a whiny little bitch. That's all you're doing. I don't fucking care if you guys come to Florida, come find me, because I'm calling you a whiny little bitch. You're a whiny little bitch. Get back in your own damn city, mind your own damn business. The case has not been decided yet. That's coming up soon. So cool your shit, wait for the, verdict, and then do whatever you're gonna do. But like I said, if the crowd goes nuts because the verdict is in favor of Darren Wilson, martial law is going to get implemented. I firmly believe that. So, that's all I've got on the Ferguson incident. If you guys want to hear me talk about other trending topics, I do go over the stuff. I try to find as much as I can, but the problem is that mainstream media changes the story around. So I try to get first-hand accounts as well. I do have people in St. Louis that I've talked to. Well, not in St. Louis, but in the St. Louis County that I've talked to see kind of what's going on there. But yeah, if you guys want to hear me talk about any of the other political topics, I can do that for you. But yeah, this video's been going on quite a while, so sorry it took so long, but this kind of stuff needs to, be gotten into detail. So, love all of you very much. You're all amazing, beautiful people. And I will see you guys again soon. Don't always trust the media. Just saying that. Peace out, guys.